strained off bamboo fermented plant juice and also banana flower fermented flower juice. So it's really fun making the inputs and using them and see how it works. I'm kind of like a horticultural mutt, though. I really like different cultivation systems. I started with organic farming and found really quick it was really unsustainable, a lot of work, and very expensive. So I kind of, and I highly recommend this book that Dana has written, because in the beginning, I could really relate to it, because some of the prayers that she said, I said, it was like almost like word for word. It was like, wow. And that explains how we have this connection. And I have had, the way led for me, I feel like. And so the farmer who I was training with said, look at Masanobu Fukuoka if you want to learn about sustainability. That's a Japanese natural farmer. Different system, complementary, worked very well for us growing rice here. But his whole philosophy was a no-work philosophy. What we do is usually a detriment to our systems. It actually ended up with one of the most productive rice farming systems in Japan as a result of his no-work philosophy. So he had some of the highest production with the least amount of work, and also influence. The farmer also told me, look at the indigenous methods, or as he said, the Indians, the Pacific Northwest Indians. Once again, the do-nothing method. What their method was is show up and harvest, because they built the infrastructure over generations, and actually built a greater abundance. And that led me also to permaculture and agroforestry, and now here in Hawaii, traditional Hawaiian agriculture and Korean farming, natural farming. And so it's a little bit tricky sometimes piecing them together, but when I hear the needs, and I've really been interested in research. I've been doing this since 2002, worked with, I'm not sure how many plants now, over 1,000 definitely, like, I'm not sure what it is anymore, but I like growing things together. And because this is what the Northwest are doing. They had their native plants, and that's what every culture, think about this, every culture just has the plants that are available to them to grow whatever. And so they just have like these root crops, and half of it's poisonous or whatever, so the Coast Salish people would grow all these root crops in meadows, and they were native plants, and they were growing together, and it was in fields that were passed on from mother to daughter. They were staked out. And then when the European explorers came through, they first thought they were lakes. Wow, look at that beautiful lake, what? Turns out, from a distance, they did look like lakes, because the camas flowers were so blue, and there were so many, it looked like a lake. That's the scale they were working on, gardeners of a grand scale. And so over time, getting into culture and working with them on environmental rights, social rights, and learning, I started to realize, wait a second, the story isn't what we thought it was. There was actually a very productive system here, a lot of people who control the present, control the past. Same here in Hawaii. 10,000 people in Waipio Valley is what the estimate is right now. What is there, 100 right now? They're all struggling. And so there's a lot of options for us. And when we combine, for me, when I combine the plants together, like here, I did a little experiment of taro and turmeric, olena. And it's just an experiment. I start small, see what happens. But this is from my worst garden, where I planted it. My mom was visiting, and we planted it, and I wanted to see what happened. So I didn't do anything. And I had other gardens that I wanted to really do a better job on. I just didn't do anything. I went in there once, and I weeded it. I totally regretted doing that, because more weeds came, worse ones. And so after that, I was like, screw it, I'm done. I'm just going to leave it alone. And so this grew. And we got the turmeric. This was growing with this one right here, and then this one here, and it's all aligned, and between it all was edible hibiscus and the native sumac, Hawaiian sumac. And so these are all growing at the bottom of this tree. If I killed that tree, it would have been swamped with grass. So it's like forming these beneficial relationships is what I've been learning about. And I see that happening now. I feel like there's alliances that are being built. And so this is kind of the analogy that we have for today, where we're all different, but right now we're kind of figuring out how do we relate to each other. And what are our goals? What do we love? What's our kuliana? What's our responsibility, our passion? And then how do we share that with others? And that's just like the tribes in the Northwest. It's so interesting that the cultural similarities are amazing. And so when I hear people talking about the Korean natural farming, and from what I've seen going to places, and just to back up one little bit, I studied at a permaculture research center, and then kind of created my own. So for 2.5 years I've been doing that, and I've got this food jungle that it takes very little work. Like this whole year I've been really busy with all this other stuff, and I've just been planting. I don't have to weed. I can walk away from what I plant nowadays. I can plant it and walk away. And no weeds, because I started small. I figured out what worked well together, and I expanded on it. And now I've expanded more. And so I hear, the problem with, well, why are people farming? Well, I think the obvious thing is the land's expensive. There's the image of it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work if you don't have your team to help you out, and that's the plants and the animals. And knowing the relationships between them is a very important thing. All the regulations, the weeds, the pests, and also it's just not pono, honestly. Like just farming one thing and then trying to sell it and get money, it's going against people's nature. There's a reason. So I just grimace when I hear like Hawaiian homelands like trying to force people to farm. And like they try to do that to the Indians. It doesn't work, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's do something that works. And that is the way humans are naturally, but like Kanaka, right? Like true human beings are people who take care of nature. And it's been done for most of our life, most of humanity. And it's only very recently that things have been thrown off in the past, 2,000 years or 10,000, whatever. And so the solutions to the weeding and the food for the animals, I feel like. So here's the vision I had for the natural farm of tying permaculture, or together. Permaculture and natural farming is, if you can imagine a wheel where you have, in the center would be the center of the natural farming research center. So you have your buildings, the places for people, and then around it, and it all depends on the site, right? You can't just like take a blueprint or something and just stick it on the land, but you have your piggery, right? We've got these pigs, and they need to eat, right? Because they're pigs. So what do? We think of all the things that pigs like, and then we put them in a food forest. And this is what I've been doing. I want to invite you all to come tour my garden, either at the end of January, sometime in January, February. I'm inviting different groups of people to come out and see it, because I've been, trying to get it just right so people can see it, and you see it from the beginning, from before I plant, right after I plant, 6 months, a year down the road, and you can see, oh, okay, yeah. Once everyone that walks through there is like, yep, I get it. And so for the pigs, first, we're they grow well right away. Tara, another one, does very well right away. They all grow well together. Then we've got sweet potato ground cover and perennial peanut. They do well. Okinawa spinach as well. Pigeon pea is a very important support species. Sugarcane, papaya, banana, moringa. They all do extremely well growing together. They do better growing together. Like sugarcane, if you grow that with ice cream beans, sugarcane is going to grow tall. It's not going to flop over because the trees are there to support it. And so I actually get longer, straight sugar canes. It's not always. I got a whole bunch of mistakes. So I learned my lessons and then fix it. Yams, growing up those nitrogen-fixing trees like Bajul, Erythrina edulis, awesome bean tree. It's better at a little bit higher elevation. Ice cream bean, ulu, all these things. So that's just the pig food forest. And this is all based on an alley crop system. People I'll just explain. Alley cropping is just imagine like an open meadow, and then trees on both sides, like a farm, right? Well, there's a system in agroforestry. It's very simple, where they just plant a line of trees, and then crops between it. And you get these ecological services from the trees. Like the trees will bring nutrients up from down. They're going to make some leaf litter. And if you're growing greens, you want some shade. You don't want full sun all day. Or the wind, you don't put the wind out. So you can just do the piggery thing, and then you have your food forest coming up, and then it goes down, and then, oh look, here's a chicken house over here. Bring out a farm of chicken. And then we've got some chicken food forest, which I'm doing a trial with that. Chicken forage crops. And then it turns into another forest, the mulch forest, or the garden. And that's where we have all these weeds. And the only way, like Hector was saying, and I know Clive does, is you gotta use the mulching. If you're not, you're killing microbes, you're leaching, you're getting compaction, you're gonna have lots of weeds, which is not what people want. So then after that, we have our mulch and our veggies, and if we, here, I'll just give you a few other species. Lemongrass, citronella, sudan grass, and vetiver are like the stuff you have on your edges. And the lemongrass all through your garden, comfrey. If you have that, then you just come and cut the and throw it down. The one thing is, this is one of the challenges when I talk to people at universities. For farms, it takes labor. And people want the point and click thing, point and shoot, and it doesn't really work that way. We have to be smarter here and not have the stresses. And so now with, here in Hawaii, it's aloha, and the family, ohana. And so we're here in the government building, and Mike's saying, we can change these laws. And so Dana, in her wisdom, said, well, let's just ask people, what do they want? And that's the whole thing. It's like, what's your calling? What's your passion? What are your connections? And that's it. I was like, maybe someone's got $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, all these things, we have a lot to contribute, and we have a lot to gain because this is an island. So I guess I'll just open it up unless you want to say anything else.
What about clover?
What's that?
Clover.
It needs more, I don't know input, or now I use inputs, but I don't like lime. And I like to use the plants that are adapted to the land with no inputs. So clover needs a higher pH. And I already tried it. White clover, if it's like a drier area, it could work well, but I have a very acidic soil where I'm at. So like Waimea clover could do it. Down here, probably not. Desmodium heterophyllum is an excellent ground cover, low growing. It's nitrogen fixing.
I'm just curious because clover is kind of taking over my place.
Okay. Fine with that.
No, it looks like clover to me.